Welcome to the Saving Castles podcast, the sanctuary for castle devotees and medieval history enthusiasts. Prepare to embark on a thrilling voyage through time as we unveil enthralling history and legend. From ancient folklore to cutting-edge restoration, we've got it all covered. So grab your headphones and let's dive right in.
Under the brooding skies of Valladolid, in the year 1527, a prince was born amidst the opulence and intrigue of the Spanish court. Philip II, son of the formidable Emperor Charles V and the virtuous Isabella of Portugal, was cradled not just in luxury but in the very lap of power. From his earliest breaths, destiny whispered of the empire he would one day command, an empire that would stretch across continents, its vastness unparalleled, its wealth untold. Educated under the watchful eyes of the empire's finest minds, Philip's youth was an elaborate preparation for sovereignty. His tutors, men of wisdom and erudition, imparted lessons on the ancient classics, the intricacies of languages, and the subtle art of governance. Yet it was the study of military strategy and the grand chessboard of European diplomacy that most captivated the young prince. Even as a child, Philip displayed an unerring sense for the machinations of power, his mind absorbing the lessons of history's great rulers with a keen and eager thirst. As he matured, so too did his understanding of the burdens he would inherit. His father, Charles V, ruled over an empire so vast that the sun never set upon it, a realm of endless horizons that spanned from the New World's verdant jungles to the rich cities of Europe. But with great power came enemies, both within and without, and young Philip learned early the weight of the crown he was destined to wear. In 1556 the moment of ascension arrived. Emperor Charles V, worn by the toils of governance and the endless wars of Christendom, abdicated his throne, leaving his son the most powerful monarch in the Christian world. Overnight, Philip II became not just the King of Spain, but the ruler of an empire upon which the sun never set. His dominions included the kingdoms of Naples and Sicily, in Italy, the vast territories of the Americas, and the burgeoning colonies in Asia. It was a realm of dizzying diversity, a mosaic of cultures, languages, and faith. Yet Philip ascended to the throne at a time of tumult and transformation. The Protestant Reformation was fracturing Christendom, while the Ottoman Empire threatened Europe's eastern borders. Spain itself, though rich from the silver of the New World, faced the challenges of integrating these vast new territories into its fold. Philip understood that his reign would be defined not just by the lands he inherited, but by the challenges he overcame. His strategy was twofold: to consolidate his power at home while expanding Spain's influence abroad. Philip saw his empire as a bulwark of Catholicism, a beacon of divine order in a world succumbing to chaos. His marriage to Mary I of England, though politically motivated, was also a statement of intent, a union designed to create a Catholic stronghold against the tide of Protestantism sweeping through Europe. At the heart of Philip's rule was a relentless pursuit of centralization and control. He transformed the Spanish monarchy into a more efficient and centralized state, overseeing every aspect of governance with an almost obsessive attention to detail. From the grand halls of the Escorial, his austere palace monastery, Philip wielded his authority with an iron will, his eyes fixed on the farthest corners of his empire. The challenges he faced were monumental. The revolt in the Netherlands, the threat of piracy in the Mediterranean, and the constant pressure from France and the Ottoman Empire tested Philip's resolve and his resources. Yet, through a combination of military might, strategic marriages, and shrewd diplomacy, he not only maintained his empire, but enhanced its glory. Philip's reign was marked by contradictions. A devout Catholic, he championed the Counter-Reformation, yet his policies often led to bloodshed and persecution. A king who sought peace through power, he found himself perpetually at war. A ruler who dreamed of unity, he governed over an empire seething with diversity and discord. The story of Philip, like the empire he ruled, is a saga of ambition, power, and the eternal quest for immortality. We peel back the layers of this enigmatic monarch, exploring the life of a man who, for better or worse, shaped the destiny of the world. In the annals of history, Philip II of Spain emerges not merely as a monarch, but as an architect of empire, a visionary whose designs reshaped the very fabric of the world. His reign, set against the backdrop of the Renaissance's flowering and the tempests of Reformation and conflict, was a crucible from which emerged a global empire unparalleled in its reach and influence. Upon his ascension to the throne, Philip inherited not only the crowns of his ancestors, but a mission divine in its mandate, to expand the boundaries of Christendom and secure the supremacy of Catholic Spain against the encroaching shadows of Protestant heresy and Ottoman ambition. His empire, sprawling across continents, was a realm where the sun setting was chased perpetually by its rising, a testament to the vastness of his dominion. Philip's vision for his empire was grandiose, rooted in the belief that Spain was ordained by Providence to lead the world into a new era of Christian unity and prosperity. His ambitions, however, were tempered by the realities of governance and the complexities of international politics. He knew that the foundation of lasting power was not conquest alone, but the ability to govern diverse peoples and lands with a blend of firmness and foresight. One of Philip's most potent tools in his quest for dominance was his strategic use of marriage as an instrument of policy. His union with Mary I of England, though barren and ultimately tragic, was a masterstroke, aiming to create a Catholic bulwark against the Protestant Reformation that was tearing Europe apart. Though the alliance was short-lived, it demonstrated Philip's willingness to leverage personal ties for political gain, a theme that would recur throughout his reign. Philip's rule saw the Spanish Empire reach the zenith of its territorial expansion, its tentacles stretching from the Americas, where vast quantities of silver and gold flowed into Spain's coffers, to the Philippines in the east, named in his honor. This expansion was not merely a quest for wealth. It was an endeavor to spread the Catholic faith and secure strategic outposts against Spain's enemies. The conquest of the New World, while laden with tales of adventure and discovery, was also a narrative of brutality and oppression. Philip, from his palatial halls in Europe, oversaw the integration of these vast territories into the Spanish crown, imposing a system of governance that extracted wealth while endeavoring to convert and civilize indigenous populations. His policies laid the groundwork for the global Spanish Empire, but they also sowed the seeds of future rebellions and unrest. Philip's military strategies were as complex as his empire, characterized by a blend of boldness and caution. He understood that Spain's strength lay not only in its armies, but in its navy, which patrolled the seas, protecting the vital lifelines of commerce and communication. The construction of the Spanish Armada, a formidable fleet meant to secure Spanish supremacy on the seas, was a testament to his ambitions. However, Philip's military campaigns were a mixed bag of triumphs and setbacks. While he succeeded in securing territories and quelling rebellions, his attempts to invade England and subdue the Dutch revolts were costly endeavours that drained Spain's resources and tested the limits of its military might. Philip's efforts to expand Spanish influence were not limited to military conquests and political marriages. He also sought to integrate the vast territories of his empire through a combination of administrative reforms and cultural patronage. The establishment of the Council of the Indies and the systematization of laws across the empire were aimed at creating a cohesive administrative structure that could manage the complexities of his global realm. Moreover, Philip saw himself as a patron of the arts and sciences, sponsoring expeditions and fostering a cultural renaissance that would glorify Spain's achievements and propagate its values. His support for figures like El Greco and the establishment of institutions such as the El Escorial Palace were part of a broader strategy to cement Spain's legacy as a beacon of Catholic virtue and royal magnificence. Yet the very magnitude of his ambitions planted the seeds of the empire's eventual challenges. The vastness of his territories, the diversity of its peoples, and the enormity of its wealth would test the mettle of those who followed him. In Philip II, history finds not just a king, but a titan, whose dreams of empire would echo through the ages, a legacy as enduring as the stone walls of the Escorial. As dawn broke across the vast expanse of the Spanish Empire, from the rugged hills of Castile to the distant shores of the Americas, it illuminated a realm unparalleled in history. This was the empire that Philip, sovereign of Spain and its vast territories, laboured to oversee, an empire whose breadth was matched only by its complexity and the challenges it presented. Philip's reign heralded an era where the globe was woven together by the threads of Spanish ambition, diplomacy, and military might. It was a tapestry of power that extended beyond the mere acquisition of land. It was about integrating these territories into the Spanish crown, instilling a sense of order and control over distances that spanned continents. Philip's approach to governance was as meticulous as it was strategic. Understanding the impossibility of ruling such a vast empire through sheer force alone, he adopted a system of administration that was as innovative as it was efficient. Central to this was the Council of the Indies, established to oversee the governance of the Americas, ensuring that these distant lands contributed to the wealth and stability of the empire while maintaining the crown's authority. This network of councils, each responsible for different aspects of governance, finance, military, judiciary, allowed Philip to exert control over his sprawling empire. The vast distances of the Spanish Empire presented not just logistical challenges, but cultural and religious ones as well. Philip, a devout Catholic, viewed his role as not merely a temporal ruler, but as a guardian of the faith. This conviction drove his efforts to integrate the diverse cultures under his rule into the Catholic fold, from the Muslims and Jews of newly conquered Granada to the indigenous peoples of the New World. The spread of Catholicism was facilitated through a combination of missionary zeal and the establishment of institutions such as the Inquisition, aimed at preserving orthodoxy within the empire. Yet Philip's vision of religious unity was often met with resistance, highlighting the limits of imperial control and the complexities of governing such a diverse empire. The wealth that flowed into Spain from the Americas was unprecedented, silver mines like those in Potosi becoming the lifeblood of Philip's empire. This wealth funded armies, supported the Catholic Church, and maintained the lavish court. Yet this influx of wealth also presented challenges. The reliance on American silver contributed to inflation and economic instability, a reminder of the empire's vulnerabilities. Philip's efforts to manage this wealth underscored the balancing act required to maintain his empire. Investments in the navy to protect the vital shipping lanes from the New World were coupled with efforts to stimulate domestic industries and agriculture, an acknowledgement of the need for a sustainable economic base beyond the treasure fleets. Under Philip, the Spanish Empire reached its zenith, its influence felt from the battlefields of Europe to the trading ports of Asia. The Philippines, named in honor of Philip, symbolized the global reach of Spanish power, a testament to the ambitions of a king who dreamed of a world under Spanish dominion. Yet the dream of a global empire was not without its nightmares. The challenges of defending and administering such vast territories, the constant threat of piracy and foreign rivalry, and the strain on the empire's finances highlighted the limits of imperial ambition. In the heart of an empire where the sun's dominion was unending, Philip II of Spain waged a war not just over lands and seas, but over the souls of his subjects. His reign, marked by the shadow and light of religious fervour, was a crusade against the tide of change that threatened to engulf the very foundations of his world. In this era of tumult and transformation, Philip stood as the hammer of heresy, a moniker that bespoke his unyielding resolve to defend the Catholic faith against the encroaching shadows of Protestant Reformation and heretical dissent. Philip's empire, vast and diverse, was a mosaic of belief and tradition. Yet at the heart of this kaleidoscopic realm was the king's unwavering commitment to Catholicism. It was a faith inherited from ancestors who had reclaimed Spain from Moorish hands, a legacy of reconquest and revival that Philip bore as both shield and spear. His reign was a testament to this devotion, an era where the splendour of the Church mirrored the might of the monarchy, each reinforcing the other in a grand design to uphold the sanctity of Christendom. Under Philip's rule, the Spanish Inquisition, already a tool of religious and political authority, found new vigour. It was an era where the air was thick with the scent of incense and the murmur of prayers, but also, tragically, with the smoke of execution pyres. The Inquisition, tasked with rooting out heresy within the empire's bounds, became synonymous with Philip's name, a reflection of his determination to cleanse his realm of religious dissent. The king, viewing himself as the guardian of Catholic orthodoxy, supported these endeavours with both resources and royal decree, cementing his legacy as a monarch for whom faith was both bastion and battlefield. The religious conflict of Philip's era was not confined to the quiet whispers of heresy or the solemn courts of the Inquisition. It spilled onto the open seas and into the annals of history with the clash of galleys and the roar of cannon at the Battle of Lepanto in 1571. This monumental encounter between the Holy League assembled by Philip and the formidable Ottoman fleet was not just a military confrontation, but a symbolic battle between the Christian West and the Muslim East. The victory at Lepanto, where the Holy League's fleet decimated the Ottomans, was hailed across Europe as a divine endorsement of Philip's cause. The battle, immortalized in art and song, showcased Philip's military leadership and his commitment to the defense of Christendom. It was a moment where the fate of empires hung in the balance, a testament to Philip's resolve to wield the hammer of heresy against all threats to his faith and realm. Philip's zealous defence of Catholicism was not without its shadows, casting long and dark across the lands he sought to unify under the cross. Nowhere was this more evident than in the Low Countries, where the smouldering embers of religious and political discontent ignited into the flames of revolt. The Netherlands, a jewel in the crown of Philip's empire, became a crucible of conflict, a land where the king's vision of religious uniformity clashed with the burgeoning desire for autonomy and religious freedom. The Dutch revolt, as it unfolded over the decades, was a morass of siege and counter-siege, a testament to the complexities of governance and the limits of imperial ambition. Philip's efforts to stamp out Protestantism with the sword and the stake only fanned the flames of resistance, illustrating the perilous divide between ruler and ruled when the dictates of conscience stood in opposition to the crown. The shadows of the Inquisition and the echoes of Lepanto are reminders of a time when the world was a battleground of ideologies, a period when the might of empires and the spirit of faith were intertwined. In this grand and grim narrative, Philip stands as a figure both revered and reviled, a monarch whose vision of a unified Christendom under the banner of the cross was pursued with a zeal that burned brightly and at times darkly. In the twilight of his reign, the empire Philip sought to sanctify with his crusade against heresy was an entity forever altered by the trial of faith and the tumult of conflict. His was a legacy carved with the hammer he wielded, leaving an indelible mark on the annals of history. In the age of Philip II, the Spanish Empire was a realm where the aspirations of mortals brushed against the divine, a world where the quest for gold, the pursuit of glory, and the zeal for God were intertwined in the tapestry of history. Under the watchful eye of a king whose ambitions spanned the globe, Spain embarked on an odyssey that would fill its coffers with the wealth of new worlds, exalt its name in the annals of military and naval history, and affirm its devotion to the Catholic faith with a fervour that knew no bounds. The heart of Philip's empire pulsed with the flow of silver from the Americas, a torrent of wealth that transformed Spain into the envy of the world. Mines, such as those in Potosi, in the lofty peaks of the Andes, became the sinews and muscles of Spanish power, fueling an economy that underpinned the ambitions of a global empire. This influx of wealth, however, was a double-edged sword. While it financed the construction of palaces, the maintenance of a formidable military, and the patronage of the arts, it also led to inflation and economic instability, casting long shadows over the Spanish economy. Philip, aware of the perilous balance between wealth and welfare, sought to harness this silver tide with policies aimed at strengthening Spain's economic foundations. Yet, despite his efforts, the empire often found itself teetering on the brink of financial turmoil, its fortunes as volatile as the ships that braved the Atlantic laden with New World riches. The quest for gold was matched by a quest for souls, as Philip, the most Catholic king, sought to expand the reach of the Church alongside his empire. The Patronato Real, a privilege granted by the Pope that gave the Spanish crown control over ecclesiastical appointments in the New World, was a tool wielded with zeal. It facilitated the spread of Catholicism across continents, with missionaries accompanying conquistadors, planting the cross in the soil of newly claimed territories. This divine mandate drove the Spanish efforts to convert indigenous populations, an endeavour that was as much about heavenly reward as earthly dominion. Churches rose from the jungles of the Americas and the islands of the Pacific, each one a testament to the Spanish crown's commitment to its holy mission. Yet this spiritual conquest, like its temporal counterpart, was marked by conflicts and contradictions, as the desire to save souls often clashed with the realities of conquest and colonization. Philip's reign was an era when the clangor of armour and the roar of cannon were the melodies of power, a time when Spain's military and naval might were the envy of the world. The Battle of Lepanto, the siege of Malta, and the countless engagements across the Mediterranean and beyond were chapters in a saga of martial valour, where the quest for glory was inseparable from the defence of the faith and the expansion of the empire. The king's investments in his navy, the famed Armada, were indicative of his understanding of sea power as integral to Spain's global ambition. These floating fortresses, the largest and most advanced of their time, were both shield and sword, protecting the vital lifelines of empire and projecting Spanish power across the ocean. Yet, for all its might, the Spanish Armada's infamous defeat in the attempt to invade England in 1588 served as a humbling reminder of the limits of power. This setback, while not decisive in the decline of Spanish dominion, was a blow to Philip's aspirations, a crack in the aura of invincibility that had surrounded Spanish arms. As Philip's reign progressed, the challenges of sustaining an empire built on gold, glory, and God became increasingly apparent. The wealth from the Americas, though vast, could not indefinitely sustain the costs of constant military engagements, the maintenance of a sprawling bureaucracy, and the patronage of the Church. The economic policies, designed to stabilize and enrich the empire, often fell short of their mark, hampered by inflation, corruption, and the logistical nightmares of managing a global empire. The king's devoutness, which had been a beacon for his reign, also cast shadows. The zeal for conversion and the intolerance for religious dissent not only led to internal strife such as the revolt of the Netherlands, but also isolated Spain from potential Protestant allies. The quest for a Catholic hegemony, while achieving notable successes, also sowed the seeds of future conflict. In an epoch where the glimmer of gold and the thunder of conquests often dominated the narrative of empire, Philip II of Spain embarked on a quest of a different nature, a crusade for the soul of a culture. Amidst the turmoil of battles and the fervour of religious zeal, Philip emerged as a patron of the arts, a monarch whose reign became a fertile ground for the flowering of the Spanish Renaissance. This was a time when the whispers of muses were as potent as the decrees of kings, and through Philip's vision, Spain became a beacon of artistic and intellectual brilliance, illuminating the path from the medieval world into the modern age. The embodiment of Philip's commitment to culture and piety is found in the grandeur of the Escorial, a monumental complex that served as a royal palace, monastery, library, and mausoleum. Nestled in the foothills of the Sierra de Guadarrama, the Escorial was more than a mere edifice. It was a statement of divine and royal authority, a microcosm of the universe as Philip perceived it, ordered, serene, and sublime. Constructed following the victory at the Battle of St. Quentin against the French, the Escorial was conceived as a monument to Spain's spiritual and temporal victories. Its architecture, a harmonious blend of Gothic, Renaissance, and Plateresque styles, was a testament to the era's innovative spirit. The complex was not just Philip's residence, but a cultural and intellectual hub, housing an invaluable collection of manuscripts and works that attracted scholars, artists, and thinkers from across Europe. Philip's reign heralded a golden age of Spanish art and literature, a period that saw the flourishing of talents such as El Greco, whose mystical and expressive works captured the complexity of human and divine nature. The king's support extended to writers like Miguel de Cervantes, whose Don Quixote would come to be celebrated as one of the greatest works of Western literature, and to poets like Luis de Góngora, whose verses enriched the Spanish language with their beauty and depth. The king's patronage was driven by his belief in the power of art to inspire piety and patriotism, to elevate the soul towards the divine, and to manifest the glory of the Spanish Empire. It was a vision that saw the arts not as mere decoration, but as vehicles of moral and spiritual edification, integral to the fabric of society. Philip's court became a crucible for the exchange of ideas, a place where the boundaries of knowledge were expanded. The king himself, educated and curious, fostered an environment where scientists, philosophers, and theologians could debate and discuss. The establishment of the royal library within the Escorial reflected Philip's ambition to create a centre of learning that would rival the ancient libraries of Alexandria and Constantinople. This intellectual blossoming was part of a broader European Renaissance, a revival of interest in the classical past that ignited innovations in science, philosophy, and the arts. Under Philip's auspices, Spain contributed its voice to this chorus of renewal, engaging in the era's great debates and affirming the place of Spanish thought in the tapestry of Renaissance learning. Yet Philip's patronage of the arts and letters was not without its contradictions. The same monarch who supported the luminaries of the Spanish Renaissance also presided over the Inquisition, a body that censored and suppressed ideas deemed heretical or contrary to the strictures of the Catholic faith. This duality, a blend of enlightenment and orthodoxy, reflected the complexities of Philip's character and the times he lived in. The king's efforts to promote culture while maintaining doctrinal purity underscored the delicate balance between creativity and control, a balance that defined much of the Renaissance period. For artists and intellectuals under Philip's reign, the patronage of the crown was both a gift and a gilded cage, offering opportunities for expression, but within the confines of acceptable orthodoxy. Through his patronage of the arts and sciences, Philip aspired to forge an empire of the mind as enduring as his territorial domains. The cultural flowering that marked his reign left a lasting imprint on Spanish identity, a legacy of beauty and thought that transcended the vicissitudes of empire. Philip stands as a figure emblematic of the Renaissance spirit, driven by a desire to understand and shape the world, caught between the shadows of medieval orthodoxy and the light of modernity. His reign, a bridge between epochs, reminds us of the enduring power of art and intellect to define our humanity, a testament to the vision of a king who, in his quest for gold, glory, and God, also sought to capture the very soul of the Renaissance. Amid the splendour of empire and the fervour of religious orthodoxy, discontent simmered in the far reaches of Philip's realm, eventually boiling over into open defiance. The most notable of these was the Dutch Revolt, a conflict that would not only challenge the might of Spain, but also signal the fragility of imperial ambition, exposing the limits of authority when stretched across cultures, beliefs, and miles of turbulent seas. The Low Countries, a jewel in the Habsburg crown, were a land of prosperous cities, thriving commerce, and a burgeoning sense of identity. Yet, beneath the surface of wealth and well-being, the seeds of discontent were being sown. The imposition of Spanish taxes and the attempt to enforce Catholic orthodoxy upon a populace, with a strong Protestant contingent, ignited the flames of rebellion. These were not merely political and religious grievances, but a profound cry for autonomy, a demand to shape their own destiny. Philip, from his distant throne, viewed the burgeoning unrest with a mixture of disdain and determination. To the king, the Protestant Reformation was not just a theological error, but a personal affront, and he dispatched his armies to the Low Countries with a mandate to restore order and faith. It was a decision that would plunge the region into decades of war, a struggle that would drain the coffers of Spain and scar the land and people of the Netherlands. The appointment of Fernando Alvarez de Toledo, the Duke of Alva, as Governor-General of the Netherlands, marked a turning point in the conflict. Alva, a veteran of the battles against France and the Ottoman Empire, was a man of iron will and stern faith, qualities that made him a formidable commander, but also a harsh administrator. His establishment of the Council of Troubles, derisively known as the Council of Blood, was a testament to his approach to governance. A regime of terror designed to quash rebellion through execution and confiscation. Yet far from quelling the spirit of the Dutch, Alva's actions only fanned the flames of resistance. Leaders such as William of Orange, inspired by a mix of political ambition and genuine desire for religious freedom, rallied the Dutch provinces in defiance of Spanish authority. The conflict transformed from scattered uprisings into a concerted effort for independence, a war that would draw in other European powers and redefine the landscape of the continent. The siege of Leiden, a pivotal moment in the Dutch revolt, epitomized the resilience and ingenuity of the Dutch people. As Spanish forces encircled the city, cutting off supplies and hope, the inhabitants, driven by desperation and the leadership of William of Orange, broke the dikes, flooding the land and breaking the siege with a flotilla of relief ships. It was a moment of triumph, not just a military victory, but a declaration of the indomitable spirit of the Dutch people. The relief of Leiden became a symbol of the struggle for Dutch independence, a testament to the power of unity and sacrifice in the face of oppression. It was these qualities that would eventually lead to the recognition of Dutch independence in the Treaty of Westphalia in 1648, long after Philip's death, but rooted in the conflicts of his reign. The Dutch revolt, with its epic battles, sieges, and moments of sheer human will, was more than a challenge to Spanish authority. It was a mirror reflecting the complexities and contradictions of Philip's empire. The revolt highlighted the challenges of governing a diverse and distant realm, the limits of military might in enforcing compliance, and the enduring desire of peoples to define their own destinies. In the end, the Dutch revolt and the broader challenges of revolts and rebellions during Philip's reign serve as a poignant reminder of the complexities of imperial ambition. They reveal a narrative where the quest for control, both spiritual and temporal, confronts the indomitable spirit of human freedom, a narrative that continues to resonate through the corridors of history. As the sun set on Philip's empire, the echoes of these conflicts lingered, shaping the legacy of a king whose dreams of a unified Christendom were both exalted and thwarted by the realities of his time. In this saga of ambition and resistance, Philip II emerges not just as a monarch, but as a symbol of the eternal struggle between authority and autonomy. As the final chapters of Philip's reign drew to a close, the legacy of this leviathan of history began to crystallize, not merely in the annals of his empire, but in the broader narrative of the world. His was a legacy shaped by the grandeur of victories and the shadows of defeats, by the fervour of faith and the flames of conflict. In the twilight of his reign, Philip left behind an empire that stood as the foremost global power, its influence stretching across continents, its might unrivalled on the seas. Philip's death in 1598 marked the end of an era, a period in which Spain reached the zenith of its imperial power. Under his stewardship, the Spanish Empire had expanded its borders, enriched its coffers with the wealth of the Americas, and asserted its dominance on the European stage. Yet these triumphs were not without their cost. The relentless pursuit of religious unity, the unending wars of containment and expansion, and the financial extravagances of an empire overextended, all sowed the seeds of future challenges. The king's passing was a moment of reflection, not just for Spain, but for Europe. It was a time to contemplate the legacy of a monarch whose ambitions had reshaped the world, whose policies had forged an empire that was both awe-inspiring and precarious. The Spanish Armada's defeat, the revolt of the Netherlands, and the financial crises that plagued his later years were reminders of the vulnerabilities that lay beneath the surface of imperial might. The decades following Philip's death saw the Spanish Empire grappling with the consequences of his reign. The financial strains, exacerbated by the silver from the Americas fueling inflation and economic instability, continued to challenge his successors. The wars of religion and expansion, which had consumed so much of Philip's attention and resources, left Spain embroiled in conflicts that drained its strength and diminished its standing on the international stage. Yet, despite these challenges, the cultural and intellectual legacy of Philip's reign endured. The Spanish Golden Age, a period marked by the flourishing of arts and letters, continued to shine brightly, a testament to the foundations laid during his rule. The Escorial remained a symbol of the empire's grandeur, a monument to the intertwining of royal and divine aspirations. Philip's vision of a global empire, a realm where the sun never set, was a dream that outlived him. It was a vision that spoke to the ambition of the human spirit, to the desire to reach beyond the known and to impose order upon a chaotic world. His efforts to integrate the diverse cultures and territories under his rule, while often marked by conflict and coercion, also laid the groundwork for a globalized world, where the exchange of ideas, goods, and peoples transcended the boundaries of empires. The legacy of Philip II is a mosaic of light and shadow, a narrative of a king who sought to wield the power of a god to shape the destiny of an empire that stretched across the globe. It is a story that invites reflection on the nature of power, on the dreams that drive us, and on the legacies we leave behind. In the grand tapestry of history, Philip II of Spain emerges as a figure of monumental ambition, a monarch whose reign encapsulated the zenith and the nadir of imperial power. His legacy, woven from the gold of the Americas, the blood of religious wars, and the ink of cultural renaissance, stands as a testament to the complexities of ruling an empire. Philip, the hammer of heresy, the patron of the arts, the architect of an empire, leaves behind a legacy that is both a warning and a beacon. It serves as a reminder of the price of ambition, of the cost of empire, and of the enduring impact of our endeavours on the tapestry of history. Thank you for joining us on this enchanting journey through medieval history. While our weekly episodes will continue to captivate your imagination, there's an exclusive treasure trove for subscribers, a secret vault of bonus episodes filled with extra tales and deep dives into the subjects we cover. Your curiosity fuels our mission, and we're truly thankful for your support. Until we meet again among stone walls and towering turrets, keep that torch of curiosity burning bright. Thank you for listening.